Hello, everybody. Um, Waiting for you guys to file on a little bit here, but today we are hoping to do a little bit more of a professional cooking live stream. I kind of put you guys on a tripod, and did a few other little enhancements to try to hopefully help fix the issue before that we were having of things not looking very professional. So we're gonna be cooking the same thing as last time, except we don't have all the same ingredients as last time because mac and cheese. Well, let me just say this: I am missing my little. I'm gonna dump a little bit of this extra water out, but we're missing our milk because we don't have any at the current moment. So we're gonna try to use water as a substitute. I know you're not probably supposed to do that, but it's whatever. Probably supposed to do that, but it's whatever. We're gonna try it because I don't have anything else to eat currently, and I figured why not make a video of it. So yeah, here we go. And yes, I realize I might have cut off my head there. I'm sorry about that. It's hard to see when you don't have a flip out screen. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get things ready. We got our cheese pack. We got our macaroni. Our strainer was over here in the sink. That's what I was actually trying to show you. You can see. I don't know if I can zoom this in. Yes, I can. Look at that. So there's the strainer in the sink. There's our pot of water. We're using a fairly deep pan, so that way it doesn't boil over. We're going to need a spoon and also some little hand mitts, hot pad thingies. I don't know what you call them. Oven mitts. There we go. That's what they're called. So we're gonna need some of them so we can dump this pan. This pot into the sink, into the strainer, basically. So we're gonna go ahead and get this tripod over here, and we're gonna start the water. We have to do light, turn to light first on the stove here, and then turn it to high once we hear that click, and you see a flame underneath. I know it's kind of turning into a tutorial video, but that's, I guess, kind of what this can be. I know it's box macaroni and cheese, and some of you guys don't need help with that, but who knows? Maybe one of you guys will benefit from this out in the audience, or somebody will find it somehow. Which, if you are, please consider subscribing if you're new, and turn on post notifications. Yeah, I really appreciate it. This is just a little fun thing I do, so I hope that people enjoy it. Yeah. With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get it into this. So I like to open up my butter now. A tip for butter, by the way, is put it out a few days before you're gonna make your macaroni and cheese, if you know you're going to, or just in general, put your butter out, because if you put it on your counter, it softens up. And as you can see over here, right there, our butter's nice and soft, and it'll be easier to cut through with a knife. Which, by the way, you will be needing 1/2 stick of butter for 1 box of macaroni. So we're coming about right at the middle here. That's a little more than the middle, but one side is gonna be a little bit larger than the other. We got pretty close though. Yeah, it's all right for what we're doing. Doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, so we'll set our knife off to the side there, and then we'll let this come to a good boil, and then we'll be going ahead and adding in our noodles. So let's go ahead and let that get to a boil. And in the meantime, as well, I'm going to go ahead and get out my measuring cup. I have a smaller measuring cup. It has everything clearly labeled what it is. So here's the liter side of the measuring cup. As you can see, everything's a nice big red print where you can see it all. And on this side, we have the and it's labeled every single cup, not where it's not labeled on certain areas, because then what happens is you can get confused, like I did over at school in our cooking kitchen on what day would that have been? On Tuesday. Because you can't see all the measurements. And even on our bigger measuring cup, I believe that everything's labeled too. Yes, it is. So as you can see, even on the gigantic cup, which you really don't need, everything's labeled. As you can see. In clear fashion. That's another thing too, is like red print helps you. So even if everything wasn't labeled, I'd still be able to see it because it's nice and big and in red font. So we're going to fill this with water. Normally you guys would be doing milk to 1/4 cup. So you want to fill it up to where you about think it's getting close. And then you want to set down on the counter. And if you aren't sure, just kind of do it a few times. Sorry, there's a little bit of water up here from the pot. But anyway, if you don't know for sure, guesstimate, and then like get it kind of close, and you can set down each time if you want to. You know, when you think you're getting close, just set down. Because this is a trick. You should look down at it, and you can see now that I'm a little bit over. So see, that's how I fix that issue. And then just pour a little bit out. A little bit more. I might get this right on par the first time, but I didn't get it exactly perfect this time. And there you go. So now if I set down, you can see it lines up right with that 1/4 on the measuring side of things. So I'll set that over here. Now, another thing is I get my milk always out beforehand because if it's sitting in your refrigerator, then you aren't going to be able to right away work with things. I actually like this angle better because look, then you can see me. La-da-dee, la-da-doo, la-da-dum. Okay, I'm just goofy. It's all right. It's all good. Anyway, hey, as you can see here, if I turn the camera, there's no milk in there. So that's why we aren't using milk for this. Just gonna give you guys a nice stove shot. So yeah, on my burners too, for the light, it's easier as well. Everything's labeled really clearly, and it makes sense. Once again, it didn't happen yesterday in the kitchen that I was working in over at school. They didn't make any sense. So, like for example, this burner. This is the, whoops, that's the back burner. The front one is right here. See, they're labeled which ones they go to. Now, if you push down, everything's turned towards the right. You don't turn towards the left for anything. See, it won't let you, which is smarter. Okay, so you have the light, high, and then you have your low, which is just a little bit lower than that. So like if you light it, you want to go to low. Low is like right in between. There's none of this, you know, where you have to turn to the right, and then because at the school you had to turn it to the right, let to light, and then you had to turn it to the left to actually get to go to high. And then you're like high, medium, low, or over here. It doesn't make any sense, right? Because then you have to go whoop, and then you have to go back around. Which, I mean, maybe some stoves are designed like that, but this one is not, and I think it's smarter to go not that way. Also, this one is a slightly older model. You do have right here the oven temperature. So this one is the one where you can just turn it around. I don't use this one the oven very often, but you have the option of different degrees that you want to heat it up to. I have used it before, so I do know, but it's not as easy for me to use this as the other thing. I mean, I know what I'm doing, but you just have to push down and then turn it to your temperature. But we're obviously not going to do that. And then you have your oven light, which is actually not built into the door on this one. It's a style where you have the switch right here. So yeah, that's your oven light. Now we're gonna, sorry, we just got notification if you guys heard that. We're gonna pan back up and zoom back out. And I'll look into the water here because I can't really see through the camera if it's boiling really good or not. got notifications. Sorry about this. Hang on a second. Just ignore all this junk. Get notifications about apps that have been updated and whatnot. That's one of the disadvantages of streaming on your phone, but you know, it is what it is. So anyway, let me just pan up a little bit so you guys can see everything that I got out here on the counter too, fairly well. Okay, so right now we're getting a little bit of boiling. That it's probably good enough for the macaroni to go in. I usually kind of guesstimate it too with the times. You should set your clock about 7 minutes, but I actually do it. I do it by taste and by stirring and looking at the noodles. But if you need to, you could set your stove timer, which actually we have ours built right in the top there. It's just a button you push and then you are able to turn it to set it or something like that. I don't use it very often. I would just usually tell a certain assistant that we have here at the house to do it. I always like to turn on my fan on a low speed. And then we're going to go ahead and put this in. So just put that in there and then just stir. I usually like to keep just stirring the whole time. Sometimes different people don't stir all the time. I think it's better though too, because then you won't walk off and forget about it. But if your hand does get a little hot or something, you want to take a break or whatever, you can. It's just not as recommended. So yeah, you're gonna go ahead and stir that in, and then about 7-ish minutes or until it's basically got the consistency that you want and the noodles seem pliable. So I'm going to go ahead and you guys are right in front of my sink right now, so I'm going to have to move you a little bit. So let me do that. I'll take my little break right now to move the tripod. Okay, there we go. So I just got to kind of stand off to the side when I stir here, so that way you guys can see it. So yeah, we're just gonna mix it for a little bit. And usually, like I said, the way I do it is a taste test, so a tie check to see if the noodles are good enough or not. And I don't normally recommend this, but I'm gonna turn off the fan just to help with the noise, because it's very noisy with that on. I'm gonna make sure that all these other burners are off that I was showing you guys stuff. Always check those, because you don't want your gas to run. Because if you set it to, keep that off to the side here. Apparently it bounced a little bit. Luckily the grill blocks that from really doing anything. It can get hot, but usually won't start a fire unless you get it way in there. Anyway, point being, if you leave one of these like on light and it just keeps going, or you just leave it on a little bit, like if I do it like that much, you still have gas coming out. If you leave that on, then you could have some dangerous problems. So it's always important to be watching that. Also, I recommend getting one of these little spoon cradles if you ever take a break, because then you can just set your hot spoon right there instead of setting it on the counter or on the stove and making a mess. So you're just gonna stir that for a little bit. Well, like I said, a few times. I don't know why I keep repeating myself, honestly, but it's whatever.